Hello, I'm Michael Finn, holistic exercise and lifestyle coach. And today I am going to share with you and show you the importance of training your acceleration and your top velocity running for sports. All right. So here on the screen, I've got a video of me at the most recent first time ever Beep Baseball All-Star event that was held in San Antonio this last weekend. And I got some video of me so that I can show you how my training translates into my sport. So even though I train for track and field, I would do a lot of the same things that I train for track and field for my actual baseball performance as well, especially when it comes for base running. So this is me at the plate. So they brought in top 20 players from around the league and made two teams, and we separated out. So obviously I am on the red team with my red pants and my red gloves and my red and white shirt. So, and we play with this 16-inch 1-pound Chicago softball that has a electronics in it and a speaker and it beeps and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm using a 38-ounce bat here. So the other kind of the great thing about, using video and breaking things down is you can also see, how your training is transforming into your athletic performance and how you can improve things. So I do things like I will stand in this position and I will hold a medicine ball in my hands, typically a little bit lower down here where my cursor is rather than up where the bat is, because I don't necessarily want it to be exactly the same as my baseball swing, because I don't want to mess my swing up, but I want to develop a lot of the same muscles and a lot of the same tissue. So because I'm in my 50s now and I don't want to quit playing this sport, so I need to make sure that I'm conditioning my tissue and everything else to handle all this, as well as I need to improve every aspect of every single bit of movement so that I can hit the ball as far as I can, and so that I don't waste any movement getting my body down to tackle the base, as I will show you at the end of this. All right, so this way, you can actually see. So I'm going to move this forward frame by frame at a time. And so as you can see, I am, we'll even talk a second here. So as you can see, as I am striking the ball here, and remember that's a 1-pound ball, my hips are pointing out into the field. They're pointing at the pitcher so that I am driving and I've got all of my weight back on this back foot. So you can see that because I've practiced the way that I have, I can propel that ball through my hips and through my torso and not just through my, I will say it, my wimpy little arms. I am not the strongest person in the world. Yes, I can deadlift 300 pounds, but I don't know what I can curl or anything like that, but I highly doubt it's much more than say, 50 or 60 pounds, at least for repetition. So, I'm not super strong in the upper body. I'm much more stronger in the lower body. And so that's what I'm using is my lower body and all of my core and my obliques and things like that to drive that ball out there. All right. And so, and then another aspect that I'm going to show you here. So you see where my left foot is right now. So it's in front of the plate where it should be because I'm driving this ball out forward and my weight's going to be shifting onto that. Now we have two bases. And let's see, the catcher is blocking third down there. So we have two bases. We have a first and we have a third, and you don't know which one is going to turn on. It typically doesn't turn on until about this point in time when you are making contact with the ball, sometimes a split second sooner. So, but I have programmed in my brain to not think about it and just let my body react to which way I am going to practice over the years. But once again, I do this with a medicine ball, and after I throw the medicine ball, I plan to run either to a first or a third when I am practicing, so that I focus on improving my steps and making myself get out of the box faster. So what you're going to see in the next few frames with this left foot, so first base is the one that ends up turning on. And so a normal player should actually, or I should say a normal player. In the regular game of baseball, everybody's running to first. So after you would hit the ball, most people are going to immediately start pushing with this left foot and driving the right knee forward. But because in beep baseball, we could end up going either direction, what I do is I pick this left foot up. So I'm going to show you that now by moving forward a couple of frames as I'm driving that ball into right field, because I love to hit opposite field, because typically the fielders over on that side of the field are not the strongest fielders on the team comparatively to the ones in left. And because I'm a right-handed batter, most people are expecting me to hit into left field. But when I've got a really good pitcher in front of me and when I've got my timing down really good, I'm quite efficient at driving into right field. This is how I keep my batting averages up as I'm into my 50s. So you will see that now I am picking that foot up and I am moving that foot backwards as my body is starting to pick up what base is going on. So now I've got that foot there. And so if third was going to turn on, and in another video, I will show you what I mean by this, but if third was going to turn on, what I end up doing is as I slide that foot back, I end up, as I hear third being turned on, I've learned to turn that left foot and point that left foot down towards third base. But because I've already realized that first base is turning on, this foot is going to stay pointing that forward. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it as my first drive push. So as I put it back down here on the ground, right there, and I drive through that way, boom, there goes that left foot right into the ground. My right knee is already coming up and I'm pushing into the ground. And I'm also using my arms. And in a sense, I didn't even realize this until I looked at this video, that I'm kind of using the bat to help too, because I still have the bat in my hand. I'm getting ready to drop it right here. So, but right there is my toe off with my left foot. So I have the great post position. I've had other videos about, acceleration. So this would be just like the first step out of my blocks. Now I didn't come from a crouch position, so it's going to be a much higher angle. This is probably 60, maybe 65 degrees. It would be great if I could get my my lean a little bit farther forward, but it's not happening yet. We'll see. After watching this video, I got things I can change. So, but you'll see that I am in a straight line from this left foot through the left knee, through the left hip, through my torso, all the way through the neck and through the top of my head. I have my left arm out in front, countering the balance of my leg. And I am bringing my right arm back, about ready to completely let go of that bat, so that the farther back I can get this right arm to go, the more I can drive this knee up. And you'll see this angle of the shin. You always want that angle of the shin going backwards so that you can propel yourself forward. And you can see this in my right shin too. I have good separation of my thighs. It's more than 90 degrees, and I'm about 90 degrees here from the torso to this right thigh. All right, so that's pretty good. I would like that a little bit more. That's something else I'm going to think on. Let me look one frame back and or one frame forward and see. Yep, I got that knee a little bit higher there in that picture. So in just one frame back, I had the knee even higher, and that's because I'm already starting to stab that leg back, okay? And if you watched one of my other videos, one of the things I've been trying to fix is just in one of my recent videos, maybe back in September, I believe, or maybe October, I noticed I was starting to open up this angle at the knee and I was starting to reach for the ground. I have fixed that with my training in the last couple of months. On this leg, I have fixed it pretty good because there it goes. I'm going to stab that back in that frame and continue to stab it back as I drop the bat. And that goes down. I see the next thing I need to do is learn to drop the bat just a little bit sooner so I get that right arm maybe farther back. All right, and so here comes that right foot for my second step. And there is the toe off position for my second step. And here is combination of acceleration as well as top velocity. So we have this great post position. I am in a straight line, right foot through the knee, through the hip, through the torso, through the neck, and out the top of the head. Okay, because I am accelerating in that direction. All right, and in all reality, my angle is about the same as it was on the first step, if not even improved a little bit more. Okay, so with this left knee, I am about 90 degrees with my torso and the left knee. If I could get that left knee up a little bit higher, that would be great. I've been working on that and it is higher than it has been, but just still not as high as I would like it to be. My toes are up and that is an improvement. My toe before was a little bit down in this position, and so that's improved. And my knee angle isn't quite as tight as I would like it to be. You'll see in the next step what I mean, because my left leg is the one that has a tendency to open up more than my right leg. So it's better than what it used to be. Just a couple of months ago, this shin angle, instead of being angled back towards my other foot about, oh, what is that, 7, maybe 8 degrees, it would actually be pointing straight down towards the ground at this point. So I've improved it by about 7 to 8 degrees. So, and so I'm driving that knee backwards, stabbing that foot into the ground. Okay, all these mechanics look great. You can see my foot recovery. My right foot recovery is coming right through. My foot is coming over the top of my knee. My leg isn't trailing super far back there. All right, so here is, we're going to come up on passing the umpire here. So there's my toe off. I'm going to go one frame back right there. So here is my post position on the left leg once again. Other things I want to point out. So here we are again. Left foot is into the ground. Straight line through that left knee, through that left hip, through the torso, out through the top of my head. All right. You can see much tighter angle here on my right leg. Okay. And so I'm getting better knee lift on my right side than I'm getting on my left side. Look at my shin angle of my right shin. It is a good 10 to 12, maybe even close to 15 degrees pointing back, whereas I showed you in the previous step, my left one is only like maybe 7 to 10 degrees pointing backwards. The toe is lifted up, so I still need to keep working on my left leg. My left leg mechanics are not quite as good as my right. So I still need to keep working on those left leg mechanics as much as I can. Now, upper body, big key points. Look how far back my right hand is behind my right hip. My elbow is nice and high, okay? So, I typically try to tell people, don't worry so much about your elbow. You want your elbow to get up there, but in all reality, if you think about getting that back hand way back behind your hip, I mean, that's probably pretty close to 2/3 of the length of my shin is how far back my hand is behind my hip. And so that's a great way to kind of measure it. Measure things off of your own limbs in your own body, or you could even say the length of my forearm. My hand is about the length of my forearm behind my hip when I am in this full post position lifted all the way up. Okay, so then this way, with this shin at this angle, I'm going to be able to take a big stabbing motion backwards again to continue my acceleration past the umpire here. So here we go with the right step. Boom, 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 boom. Good recovery as I'm going through this stance. That left leg might be a little bit kind of late, so I'm going to be focusing on that as I continue my training in the off season. And there's my post position. It's kind of hard to see because I'm behind the umpire now, but the leg looks pretty straight. It looks like my hand's pretty far back. And then you can see here, my left knee is not quite as high as my right knee was. The shin angle isn't quite as good as it was on the right side. My toes are lifted up though. I'm happy to at least see that. So I still need to work on this left knee and the left lower leg mechanics as I am accelerating. All right. So boom, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. All right. So I'm also going to, so good push there. See how my right leg comes through a little bit sooner than my left. I don't think that's the camera angle. And let's go back once more here. And good. So I still have the good knee lift here on the right as I power through that left step. I still got that hand way back behind the hip. I've got the other hand up in front of my face as I'm driving that arm forward. And I still got the straight line through the torso. So as I go along, I'm going to point out some other things. So here in front of me, you can see at this same moment in time, you can see the fielder. So I can't tell who this is from this distance, but you can see this fielder wearing blue, and he is also in a post position running towards the ball that I hit. All right. So now this isn't the fielder that is actually going to make the play. So at some point in time, this fielder is going to realize that he is not going to have, it's not going to be his ball. It's going to be the deep outfielder person that's supposed to get this ball. And so at some point in time, he's going to start, slowing down. And that's why it's kind of difficult to see if he's already starting to figure that out or hasn't figured that out. Because right here, leg wise, especially this back leg here, he's in that post position. It's straight from his ankle, knee, hip, through the torso, through the head. All that looks good. I'd like to see bigger arm action because it's obvious they got a long way to go. So, but once again, I don't know if this person has already realized that that ball is not going to be their ball to get. So it's hard to say if that person's actually really fully accelerating like I am. Okay, so that's kind of the difference. The other thing that I see with this person is that, their shin angle isn't stabbing back towards the ground, and I'll show you a little bit more as I move a little bit farther forward. Okay, but these are all the great things that are good to look at mechanics so that you can really see how things are working. So I'm going to go forward a little bit more here. Okay, so oops, I'm going to go back one more. So that step, same thing. Posting looks good. Hand way back there. Knee lifted up. I'm still doing pretty good with my shin angle. It's not opening up nearly as much. Now, what you're going to start to see with me is I'm going to start adjusting my steps a little bit because I have to angle towards the base. It's not like I can see it coming out of the box because you notice I got a blindfold on because we all have to wear a blindfold. So I can't see it coming out of the box. So as I get about halfway down the baseline, I start adjusting so that I line myself up through the sound that the bass is making to make sure that I make contact with the bass. And I will also say there was a fairly large hole to the right of the actual baseline. So our bases are 10 feet outside the foul line. So you can see the foul line here in the grass. That's the actual foul line, but the baseline is, the base is actually 10 feet away from that foul line at 100 feet out. So, and there was a hole to the outside of that, and that was always in my mind because I do not want to step in that hole. So these first initial steps, I would try to stay a little bit more to my left going down this foul line and not come out too soon, as well as I want to try to stay as in much of a straight line as I possibly can. So we got that, all these little things that are going through the mind at top speed. So let's see, I lost that player out in the field. So still cruising along, everything going great there. Good post step still. That's all great. So now we're picking up another outfielder there. Let's see what we can see. So we can see that this outfielder here, running out in the field, good acceleration mechanics, foot, ankle, knee, hip, torso, head, all in a good alignment. A little more arm action, and you can see this front knee is lifted up nice and high, and this shin pointed backwards, so that they can drive and accelerate with their next step, and even their toe is lifted up a little bit more. So one thing with this outfielder, I'd like to see some more hip flexibility so that that knee could get up a little bit higher, because it's hard to tell, but might not even be quite 90 degrees. Might be a larger than 90-degree angle at the torso, and I'd like to see that knee lift a little bit higher. And I'd like to see those toes up just a little bit more on that front foot so that they could get just a little bit more out of that push. It's all those little things that will take hundredths of a second, and hundredths of a second make the difference between making the play and not making the play. So going through there, so you can actually see how that fielder, I went 2 frames forward, they are reaching forward, and I'm pretty sure this is something that being blindfolded is part of it, that you're kind of reaching towards the ground so that you can touch the ground before you push, because oftentimes we are playing on really bumpy surfaces. So I think that's part of it, as well as this outfielder, as they are going, they might also be realizing that they're not going to make the play, because it's going to be this fielder way over here to the right that's going to have the best shot at making the play on the ball. And so we're going to creep forward a couple more, trying not to drag this out too long, but as I go out of the frame. And so here you see the acceleration from the fielder that's going to have the best shot at the ball. And this is great. Angled shins going backwards, even this one up in the air. The torso is angled so that we have the torso and the shins all mimicking the same angle going backwards to get them to accelerate to the ball that I hit down the line over here. All right, so good acceleration mechanics there. I'm going to go forward 1 frame. Yeah, see, look at that post. So pretty good post. Would like to maybe see that angle a little bit lower. Some of that can be maybe they started in a higher position in their set stance or something like that. Toes down a little bit too much. I'd like to see the knee lifted up a little bit higher, but once again, that's like flexibility, and it might seem like it's ticky-tack kind of stuff, but I'm telling you, it will cut you down a couple of hundredths of a second getting over to where that ball is. And once again, that can be the difference from making the play and not making the play. So, and then as we come along a little bit more through here, I still have, let's see, let me go 1 more frame here. Oh, I'm going to go a couple more frames here to get to my next step, because you're starting to see I'm starting to steer myself towards the base. I still have a good post here on my right leg. I'm still following, but I'm much more upright now, because you see I'm much higher to velocity. There's that low left knee that I've been working at with top velocity. I would like that higher. And my shin angle, it's kind of hard to tell because now I'm running away from the camera, so it's hard to tell. My shin angle still looks pretty good. I'm still pretty happy with my toe angle. I'm not reaching towards the ground yet. I've kind of fixed the toe. That's great. I like to see that. I've been stretching my calves quite a bit to try to get that to improve. My arms are really good. This backhand, once again, way behind that hip. The front arm looks really good. So that all looks really great. And let's go a couple more. Let's see if that was where. Oh yeah, I got a fielder back there in the back. So the front fielder already knew that that was not their ball. They didn't do anything but turn and say, somebody else get it. And so this midfielder here in between me and the umpire out there on the field is who I kind of want to be looking at, because this next step of theirs, there it is. So see how this front leg is fully extended on this midfielder? So this is what you don't want to do. Now, not saying this person is doing anything wrong, because they may have already realized that that ball is not their ball anymore. And they might have already called that player, the outfielder out here, to go get it. And so this might be a braking step. But when you are running and you're trying to accelerate, you don't want to get that front leg straight, because that shin is pointing this direction, which means when it hits the ground, you're going to be slowing down. So now this player may want to slow down because they know that that's not their ball anymore. So I just want to point that out, because their step previous to this also kind of looked like that. And once again, I don't know when they realized that that ball was not theirs. So, but that's the way that they're kind of extending that out. So, so if I was training that person, I would be wanting to look at other video, and I would want to see if when they are running at velocity and trying to accelerate, if there is any kind of extension here at the knee before there should be extension here at the knee, and especially not ever getting in this position. All right, so just something to point out. I just don't know if that person is still wanting to accelerate or if they're decelerating. If they're decelerating, that's what you need to do, okay? Plain and simple. You want the angle of your shin to propel you in the direction that it is, that your knee, or that actually the angle of the shin is pointing in. So let me look at that fielder. All right, so this fielder still accelerating, shin still pointing that way. We're gonna go one more frame forward here. You're gonna start to see, you can kind of see how angles are twisting a little bit. In me, how there's some lean to my body. I'm trying to start to adjust. The picture of the or the base should be coming into frame here any second now. But you can start to see how I'm starting to twist a little bit. That outfielder is also doing the same thing, twisting a little bit here and there to adjust, because the ball is, he's trying to track the ball. And so I'm twisting in here, but the mechanics are still saying the same. There's the ball rolling out into the field. Person is still accelerating. You're going to have a hard time seeing them now, because now they're on the other side of me. And you can see my steps are more accelerating too. And the base is now in the shot. And so you can see me directing myself right at the base. And there's the ball that the player is going to direct themselves towards. And that now they dive and they slide in there to go get the ball, which thankfully they did not get the ball, which worked out great for me. But there's those changing little steps. You see that I've been reaching for the ground a little bit more, and that is because I'm trying to direct my angles, especially on this one. Look how low my right foot is, and that's because my right foot is going to be my plant step to push myself to the right. right there as I'm leaning out to the right, because I know that base is on my right side. And so that's where I develop those habits of reaching towards the ground too much. And so I have to practice in my mechanics so that I only do that when I'm directing myself into the base. All right. And so then we like knock that base all the way over and fun things like that. All right. So those are just some of the reasons why, as I go all the way back here real quick, why we want to focus on our mechanics from the other videos that I have shown for max velocity, where we are in this post, our driving foot in the back, it's a straight line, foot, ankle, knee, hip, torso, neck, head, boom, powerful. You're driving that opposite knee forward and up so that you try to create less than a 90-degree angle between your torso and this front thigh. You want to have a 90-degree or less angle also here at the knee with this shin pointing back behind you on this front leg so that you can stab that ground like a knife to propel yourself forward. Your back hand should be somewhere around the length of your forearm behind your hips, so that the more you open this arm up and the more you reach back with that hand, the easier it is to drive this knee forward. And then this front arm counterbalances the weight of your back leg and starts to prepare to help recover this leg and pull it back forward. Okay, so and so you'll also see how your angles here are going to mimic more of your angles on the same side. We want this angle to be really open in the back elbow, and that's so that this angle here at the back knee gets really straight. We want this angle on the front arm to be fairly tight so that we can keep the angle at the front knee fairly tight. Okay, so it's amazing how the body works and all the fascia and the muscles, but everything counters everything else. And so this is why we want to focus on improving our mechanics and our positions. Take pictures, take videos, and then practice and recheck yourself every few weeks to see how you are improving, because I am so excited to see that my right leg is pretty close to fixed to where I want it to be. And now I need to just really continue to work on my left in through here to where my toes are up good. My shin angle is pretty good. I'd like to see it a little bit better, but it is much better than what it was 2 months ago. Maybe been 3 months, I'm not sure. And if I go all the way there, I'm pretty happy with this front knee angle. That's all looking pretty good. My toes are up. I'm pretty happy with that too. There's some other things in here that I need to work on. But let's go one more time with my left knee in front. Boom. So here you can see once I'm, whatever this is about maybe the 7th step out of the box. You can see I'm starting to lose my knee lift a little bit. It's not quite as lifted as it is, and I'm starting to lose my shin angle a little bit. My toes might even be dropping a little bit too. So I need to keep focusing on it and maintaining it longer and longer and longer. So if I continue to work through it on the winter and in the spring, come the tournaments next summer, I should have this left leg even better than what I did for this all-star event. All right, so I will stop there because I could go on forever about trying to, improve this, but you can guarantee now I'm going to make other changes in my weightlifting programs and in my stretching programs and my massage and fascial programs, and most importantly, my sprinting programs and my acceleration programs and my medicine ball drills to help improve the function of this left leg so that I can get these angles better. All right. So that's what I do for my clients. I do it for myself too. If you want to send video of yourself to me, we can sit down and schedule a time and we can go over it together, and I can help you put together a plan to improve your mechanics so that you can be faster in the sports or the activities or just the fun that you do on an everyday basis. All right. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. And I hope you all have a happy and healthy day.